G'day guys, so today we're going to be doing drawing 10 out of excavation, looking at some footings for suspended floors. So here's our drawing that we're going to do. We've got our T-square and I'm just using the 60-30 square again. You should be fine if you want to use the 45-degree square. Actually, I might just grab that, just change it up a little bit, just so you can see that it's possible to use either square. Okay, so first thing we need to look at is we've got our border, our margin set up with our title block down there. So we need to plan out the page. So we've got 3 different drawings here. Our scale is 1 to 5. So let's go for our width first. 300 divided by 5. So that 300 mil is going to be 60 millimeters wide on our A3 page. Next footing, we've got 400 wide. So divide that by 5 for our scale. We've got 80 mil. Last one, 300 mil, same as the first one. So 60 mil wide. So if we add those 3 up, we should get, what do we get? 200, I think. Just double check that. 600, yeah, 200. So 60 plus 80 plus 60, 200 mil. And we know that the width of our A3 page between our margin, because I've done a 20 mil border on this side, 20 mil in from the line and 10 mil on this side, I've got 390 across my page. So 390 minus 200 is going to give us the spacings for our gaps. We should be left with 190. So we've got one gap here, another here, and one on the very end. So that's 4 gaps in total. So 190 divided by 4 equals, throw that in the calculator, 47.5. So 47 mil over each time. Okay, so let's quickly just throw those on the page. Our nice faint lines. Might actually use the bigger square for this because it reaches the whole way. So our first one I'm going to put on 47. Nice faint line there. Now we're going to come over 60. So over to 107. Now we've got to come over another 47, don't we? It's going to take us across to 154 on the square. Nice faint line again. Then we're over 80 for our next one. So that takes us to 234 on the square. Nice faint line. Over 47, it takes us to 281. Sorry if my hair was in the shot then. Let's get along with lockdown. And last one, 60 mil across from there, 341. Should leave us about 48, 49 mil at the very end. Cool, so there's our spacing across the page. Now we've got to figure out the heights of our drawings. Okay, so let's go this left one. We know that that's 300. So let's break this down a little bit so it's easier to figure out. 300, our scale is 1 to 5, so we're going to divide that by 5. So we're going to be 60 mil high for our footing. Then we've got bricks coming up here. They're at 76 each with a 10 mil bed. So the height from the underside of the bed here, top of the footing, to the top of that brick will be 86. So 86 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 courses high. 516 from the top of the footing to top of the brickwork. 516. we've got to divide that by 5 because that was real world dimensions, okay? To fit it on the page, we've got to divide by 5. With our scale, we've got 103 mil. So total, okay, we're probably a little bit higher because of this wall. We're probably another sort of brick high. So let's say 516 plus another 86 divided by 5. We've got 120 if we want to go all the way. Okay. So 60 plus 120, we've got 180 from underside of footing to the top of this brickwork. Let's go next one. We've got, because what we'll do, we'll put all our footings nice and straight in a line and we'll work up off that and work down off that, okay? So we'll start, but we got to figure out how high we're going first. Alright, so 200 is our next footing. So 200 divided by 5, we're only 40 mil high. And then how many bricks we got? We got the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we know that we're going to be the same. So this one is going to be the same. 103. Easy. Guess what? Our last one is 2 bricks of the exact same height. So we can make that one 103 as well. And then here our depth 300 mil. Seen this before. 300, 300. So this one's going to be 60. Now this says minimum of 300. Why has that been drawn a little bit bigger? I don't know. To me this looks like it should say 400. So we might make this 400 because it's deeper. 400 divided by 5 is 80. That's 20 more, so this is going to be, it's a little bit messy. Let me make this clearer. Let's make this 200 now. Okay, so how high is our page? We know that 200 is going to be our biggest one. How high, how much room do we have? We've got about 276 overall width of the page. 276. Okay, minus 200. Gives us 76 left over. Divided by 2 is 38. Pretty sure. Let me just double check. Don't want to make some silly mistake. 38. Perfect. So how high is our title block? Just want to check. 35. So I think we'll be fine because it's only this left hand side that's really high. So let's go to the middle of our page, very dead center. So what did we say this was? 276 overall. So 276 divided by 2, 138. So 138 is the middle of our page. You can just mark that on the margin really lightly if you want. And then bring up T-square to draw. We're going to do a solid line to mark the top of our footing in each box, okay? So we haven't marked out a set out for the top of our page, but that won't matter because this week we're starting in the dead center, okay? That will allow us to work up and down. So we should have the top of our footings there. Now we know that I may have done this wrong. 120. We're going to reach 120. So there we've got the middle of our footings, the top of our footings right there. So now let's work down and do the underside of our footings. And we'll probably end up really close to the top of the page, but that's alright. So our first footing on my left hand side, we had coming down 80 mil. So I'm going to move this up to 80. Oops, that's 90. That's 80. And I'm going to draw the bottom of the footing. And also going to connect those two lines up. Okay, and so these lines will finish the outside of our footing off. Next one over, we're coming down 40 mil. We're going to slide this one up to 40 and stop that right there. Draw the bottom of our footing and then just connect those two up. And then our last one, we've got to come down. How far did we say? 60 mil for our 300. So we'll draw that line across there and connect those two up the same as the first two. Okay, so now we should have an outline of our footings down below. Okay, we can always throw in the steel a little bit later. Let's go ahead and start drawing our bricks in. So if we've got 10 mil of mortar, how big is that going to be with our scale of 1 to 5? Let's divide that by 5. Gives us 2 millimeters. So what we can do is figure out where our brickwork is going to be. Our mud joints are going to be 2 millimeters, and our brick heights are going to be 15 millimeters. Okay, so next thing we will do, let's do this middle one first, might be the easiest. Let's find the center of the footing. So this footing is 80 mil wide, so 40 mil is going to be the center. Okay, and the bricks this way, 230 mil wide. So 230 divided by 5, 46 for our width. So 46 divided by 2, because we're working from the center, 23. So from our center line here that we marked, we can go 23 mil either side. Just put a really faint line there. So it'll be 46 mil overall. Okay, and that way when we put our brick on the page, so we're going to come up 103. They'll be in the center of the footing. Just going to draw these in really, really lightly, okay? Because we might just have to rub out near the top a little bit for our end cap. Okay, so that's the height. Just going to connect these up. So we said the mud joint was 2 mil and the bricks were 15.3. So if we start with our T-square on the bottom of the footing, across here, let's look at where our little red mark is. I'm on 144. So I'm going to put my calculator 144 as the starting point for this left hand side measuring guide. So first thing I have to do is come up 2 mil, so I'm going to go plus 2, gives you 146. So on this left hand side I'm going to bring that left mark up to 146. I'm going to do a gentle little faint line across the page. Okay. Next one, we're coming up 15.3 because that's what we said the brick was. Okay, that takes me to 161. So I'm going to do another faint line across the page. And we've got another mud joint, so plus 2. Takes me to 163, so move that red line up to 163, another really faint line. Up 15.3 again for our brick, takes you to 178.5. 0.6, whatever. Do a nice faint line across the page. Up 2 mil again for our mud joint, takes you to 180.5, 4.6. Nice faint line. Add that 15.3 again, very tedious. 195.9, so we could probably go to 196 now. Nice faint line. So we go up 2 mil. 197.9, so 198. And go another 15.3 for another brick. 213. Sorry if my head keeps getting in the way and it keeps changing the focus. Gonna add another 2 mil for the mud. And 15.3 takes us up to 230.5. And then we'll probably have another 2 mil, and that'll be our last one. By now we're at the top, so 232.5. Okay, now we should be at the top. So that would look great if we had bricks all stacked the same way, but you can see in this drawing that we don't. We've got every second row is full, and the first, third and fifth have perp joints in them. So we've got that little center line mark down the bottom still, very faintly. We want to come across 1 mil this way and 1 mil that way for our perp joints. 1 mil to the left and 1 to the right. So here I can just really faintly put in these faint lines, these vertical lines for our perp joints. And I'm going to go across 2 mil the other way. Put the rest of them in. So this is actually the perfect time to use an eraser shield. I'm not sure if I have one or not. I'm just going to do it a bit. Yes, I do. So this thing's called an eraser shield, okay, and this thing helps you rub out lines on your page without making a mess. So you know when you rub stuff out, it leaves like little dark lines and stuff on your page, or even when you've got like a big eraser like this, you start rubbing stuff out and you rub too much out. That's when you use this guy. So you get the eraser shield. And now for this, we want something really thin. So this thin one here is probably going to be perfect for us because we need to rub out vertical lines like that. So I'll put this over the perp joint like that, okay, until that line comes in there that we want to rub out. And we just put the rubber on like that and just rub it out. And that way you don't ruin the page, and you just rubbed out that middle line without making a huge mess everywhere, because it's only 2 mil wide, so how else are you meant to rub this out without making a huge mess? Very difficult. So an eraser shield is very useful for a task like this. Does that even work? Going blind, the light shine off the eraser shield into my face, I can't really see. There you go. So rubbed out nice and neat. Your trusty razor shield. Right, so our middle footing is sort of done. Okay, let's go to our left. Now, for the sake of drawing this neatly, we're going to try and use our middle footing as a guide for our brickwork on the left and right. Okay, so we need to find the position of our brickwork on this one and this one, and we'll draw two faint lines up the page, and then we'll use these lines to carry them across. So we'll find the center of this footing, and then we've got a little sort of joint up the middle of about 2 mil. So this footing over here on the left hand side is 60 mil wide. So I'm just going to mark 29 and 31 as our, so 31 from the left will be this part of our brick footing. Just put a little line in there so I know where to stop. I'm just going to draw a line up on this side, and I'm going to come across the thickness of our brick, which is 110. So 110 divided by 5, 22. So I'm going to come across 22. I don't know about you, but I'm going to come across 22 and draw that line there. Okay, so that's where our bricks are going to go. This one, we said before that we were going to come up 120. So let's go up 120 from the bottom. Now across 22. Where's it going to take me? To here, 54. Just going to join those up. Now if you want to put the hatching in now, feel free, you can come back and do it later, but this is a perfect example of what the 45 square is useful for. We can just throw in that hatching with a 45-degree angle. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and space these perfectly even. If you're a weapon, you can just do it by eye. Obviously, I think highly of myself. No, just kidding. Just trying to get through it quickly so that we can get onto the next little bit, and you can, maybe you want to fast forward through this. Maybe you're just sitting there quietly judging me. Sure, I'll hear about it. YouTube tells me on my audience retention. I think it'll be really low in this part. So I'm just talking lots of nonsense. And hatching done. Very good. A little bit even, a little bit uneven, whatever, I think. Alright, now we've got this one done. Let's go over and do the same thing over here on the right hand side. So we've got, I think we've got the same width, 300, which is 60 mil. So that means we can mark 29 and 31, and then not know about you and do 22 again. 22 mil across from 31 gets us our outside of our hatched brickwork, and then 22 the other way as well for the internal brickwork. So we've got our 4 lines there that we can come up off, and we're going to go to the top of this footing, just there. Now on this side, the reason that we're stopping the external brickwork the same height as our internal brickwork is because this is for cladding. So the cladding will sit on top of that external dwarf wall. We're going to have a timber frame. Okay, again with the boring hatching, I just want to finish it off so it looks good. Alright, stop teasing me. Hatching the same way. Ta-da, finish. Alright, now we can do our secret, awesome, super easy way of just lining our T-square up with those brick perps and bed joints, and just transfer the lines across. Should make it really easy for you, because we only have to do one set out to find our heights. Nice. Now we're going to have bricks. So let's do it. End caps. These end caps are going to finish pretty much flush with the outside of our brickwork, and then they're going to angle down on a 45-degree angle. And it looks like they come down about well, they're probably about 50 mil in real life. Actually, no, that's way too far. What are we talking about? A third. About a third? Yeah, about a third of our brick. So how big were our bricks? 15 mil, so we're going to come down about 5 mil. It's going to be on a 45-degree angle. So we can go ahead and draw a firm line on the top. This one is obviously a little bit too far over. Where's my raising shield? The old trusty raising shield. Let me just rub that out a bit. Oh wow, what a neat razor mark. And then we're going to come down 5 mil from the top. So down, I've got 2247 over on the left, so we're going to come down to a 242. And I'm just going to draw, we said we're going to come down 5 mil, so I'm going to go out 5 mil from that side. I'm going to go out 5 mil from that side. the same on this side, and our last one over there. Now if I get this guy, they should just line up perfect. Yeah, I don't know why that line's there, because it should be all the way to the end. Sorry, I rubbed this line out because I disagree with its location. This line here should not exist. The ant cap should run the whole way to the brickwork, otherwise the ants can crawl up here. It's very stupid. So that line needs to go the whole way across, on the top and the bottom, and then we're going to get friendly trusty eraser shield out, and we're going to rub out that line there. So it looks like this. Alright, same with over here. We're going to have to get our trusty eraser shield out and rub out these lines. These internal lines. So that it looks like that. And we get the 45 back. Join those two up. And our final one here. Sorry, did I miss one over here? I've got to get rid of this guy as well. Here's this one. The square. That'll do. So this line has to go the whole way through. Which means we have to rub out one last line. I bet you're sick of me using this eraser shield and rubbing it in your face. Get that pun I made just that joke? Okay. You don't have to laugh if you don't think it's not funny. You will not lose marks. And one last 45-degree angle here. There we go. So these lines are pretty faint, you can go over them if you want. We also have to put a little break in this line up here. He's not using the eraser shield. What's wrong with him? And we have to put a break in that because that wall continues all the way up. So we have to put this little symbol in, which signifies that this just continues. Okay. There we've got to put some hatching in our concrete. So we've got some trench mesh. Now usually we've got 40mm cover if you've read your textbook. 40mm cover from the edges, and looks like we're probably down about 50mm. Probably up about 50 as well. So 40 divided by 5 is 8, I think. 40 divided by 5. 8, so we're going to be 8mm in from the edge. And 50mm up divided by 5 is 10. So 10mm up from the bottom. I'm just going to, 10mm up from the bottom on the left and the right. So it's going to come up. 10mm. Where's that? That's on 64. Yeah, 74. Just going to draw really, well, I can draw a line. We said we're going to come in 8mm, didn't we? So from there to there. So there's our Rio on the bottom. what's this at? 744 was 22. Put a little circle there. And then we can do the same thing on the top. We said come down 10 mil. So there. Okay, come in 8 from both sides. And then we've got our trench mesh facing up there. And then we've got some little hatching bits here and there, just to signify that we've got concrete, sand, coarse aggregate, a little bit more down here. Hatching very important for our drawing so people know what things are. We can do the same thing on the right hand side, so 83 up to 93, come across 8. And down 10, so 14, 17th. Again, more hatching, blah blah blah, hatching, blah 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 blah, blah. Hatching, very good, excellent, concrete, yep, we all know what it is. Hatching in the middle, because this one's just a pad footing, this one has no Rio in it. Why does it not have Rio? What's that? Because it doesn't need it. Oh, absolutely correct. Why doesn't it need it? Because it is just supporting weight under compression. There's no tension because it's not a beam, not a strip footing, it's just a pad footing. Okay, do we need anything else? Yes, we probably do. We've got a little bit of our dirt. We need to bring ground level up so that we've covered at least one course of brickwork. Okay, why do we do that? Because we don't want pooling water on the top of our concrete because it can cause erosion, and we want the ground to fall away from the house. So make sure your ground on the outside falls away. And then we've got some fill inside where we've backfilled over the top. Okay, and this is marked by these diagonal squiggly lines. And then we've got a little bit of hatching to show the ground cover. Please take your time. I'm just rushing it so you can see what I'm doing. Please make every effort to do your best job. And that's about it. Should be done. You can do, please put your dimensions on there. Okay, we've got dimensions here for our footings. Don't worry about showing the heights. Okay, we already did that. And also put our titles of each drawing of what they actually are underneath each footing. Okay, so that you can identify them, please. So we should have brick veneer, suspended timber floor, and clad frame on dwarf wall. Okay, put your dimensions in and submit when you're finished.